What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Garbear Fitness. Excuse me, as you can tell, I just woke up. So I'm a little tired right now. But before I talk about today's topic, I want to talk about my lower back. So I mentioned it on Twitter. Um, so I went to the chiropractor yesterday. And I think, as you guys know, God, I look like a hot mess. Damn, I need a shower. I mentioned, I think in one of my videos, I had been having lower back issues, like on and off for the past year and a half or so. And every time I went to a chiropractor, they just kept telling me, just stretch out. It's the muscles being too tight, just stretch out. So I've been doing that, and it still was to no avail. So I'd still be having issues and everything. And I went yesterday to a new one in the new area where I live now, and he straight up told me, like, after taking the X-rays, he showed me what was wrong too. So the pelvis with the sacrum joint here, there's like one other joint, like, the spine is divided into like different joint columns. So the way the joint is right now is in my back, it's pushed in like this, and it should be more open, and it should be the biggest space joint in the body because it's at the base, so it should be holding the most stress. But right now it's pushed in like this, and then the nerves come in from the tube of nerves there. What the fuck? The tube of nerves come in. I just like lost my train of thought. The tube of nerves. Sorry, I just woke up. I said the tube of nerves go in, and the thing is that it's pinching my nerves. The problem with it is it's not consistent. So no matter when I stretch, exercise, stand, walk, sit, lay down, it just comes back on and off, on and off. So, through some alignment, I guess, and some massage therapy and exercises with them, the issue should be fixed hopefully soon, because my squats and deadlifts have suffered tremendously, and I haven't been able to continuously increase my squat and deadlift weight. Thus, my legs have been shrinking up a bit, which sucks because I don't want small legs. Like, who does, So I just wanted to update you guys on that. And I guess a good tip about that is, if you guys ever have issues with something like your back or anything like that, get multiple opinions, because everybody's going to tell you something different. And you never know, I guess, until you get a couple opinions and just see like what seems to be more so the issue than the other. Because again, like some chiropractors thought it was my muscles, where it's actually an issue with alignment in my spine and my pelvic region, my hips. So today's video topic I want to talk to you guys about is going to be about picking a good role model. And I think there's a lot of people who want role models, or someone to look up to, especially in the field of something they're doing in, or just in general, and they don't have them. And for a while I didn't have a role model for a long time. So I kind of just I thought at some points growing up that well, I mean, my mom was there and everything, but I mean, when I moved out over the past couple of years, I felt there were points where I didn't know what was almost right and what was wrong, and not in like the basic common sense, this is right, this is wrong, but just kind of where to go. And I should say those couple years, because I would say my first role model that I can say who's had the biggest impact on my life, and I mentioned him in a video last summer when I went to Illinois, was Keith, and he's like he's like a father figure to me, and he's helped me through a lot of situations, that a father would be there for. So to me, he's like my dad. And, he's been there, I guess, in my life for going on like 8 years now, almost 10 years. I'm not even sure anymore. I lost count. But he's helped me with decisions, that I guess as a young man growing up, you had to make. He would tell me, what I should be doing, and tell me what I should hear. And I've come up with a small list of I guess they're not ideas. They would be I call them suggestions. 4 suggestions to look for in a role model. Because at one point too, my role model was myself. And I mean, I just didn't know who to look up to. So I was like, well, I'm always trying to do something better. There are things I'm still scared to do. So why don't I just kind of look up to myself and make sure, as I develop as a person, I'm my role model, and I can be role models for others. So the first thing I believe that when you're looking for a good role model, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to influence you to do things that you are uncomfortable with or scared to do, but they know it's going to make you a better man or woman. Um, and growing up, I was always the kind of person that if I was scared or uncomfortable to do something, I wouldn't do it, which I know a lot of people are. Um, and that's normal, you know, like you're growing up, you don't want to leave your comfort zone because, I mean, you never know what to expect in the unknown. But as the saying goes, you never grow in your comfort zone. And there's a quote I read yesterday I found very interesting. It was, you can be comfortable or you can be successful, but you can never be both. And you really can't, you know. To keep growing as an individual, you need to keep doing things that are going to help you expand your horizon, as a lot of people said. Um, and that's the kind of person I've become today. And, you know, whether it goes about, you know, women, work, making videos on YouTube, you know, publicly speaking, training individuals, you know, even acting and modeling, which I just got back into, become an individual who um, enjoys doing things now that, you know, would normally have scared me. And, you know, anything I feel that will make me a better person, no matter how timid or shy I get, I'm like on the ball to jump in to do it, you know. And I call that going through a trial by fire experiences in life, you know. And that's something I promote to a lot of different people, whether they're a client or not. Is, you know, you have to take the risk because you never know what you're going to gain from it. And if it's a failure, you're going to learn something, you know. So I think, you know, taking risks, it's either going to get you where you need to go or take you in another direction with experiences learned, so you can either start a new path or you can go back on the right path with more knowledge. So that's the first thing. The second thing I had is they'll tell you what you need to hear. And again, for me, Keith, he'll tell me what I need to hear. You know, sometimes growing up, you know, you're arrogant, you think you know everything when you don't, and you need to hear it from someone else. And it's just like, you know, you don't know everything, Garrett. You know, you need to reanalyze this, or you need to make a better decision about this, or your decision was stupid and you just threw yourself in another rut. And it's not to beat you up, you know, and believe it or not, that's how I talk to a lot of my friends, and I don't do it in the sense of being disrespectful, but I do it in the sense of that I care, and I tell people what they need to hear. And I think that's the thing nowadays, is people don't want to tell other people what they need to hear. And, you know, you have to be considerate of people's feelings, but you have to be considerate of, you know, if you care about that person, you're going to tell them what they need to hear, so that they don't make a decision that's going to either put them in a bad spot or take them away from the path they need to. So I'm very big on telling people what they need to hear. And I'm very big on being told what I need to hear, whether I like hearing it or not. As a kid, I used to hate being told what I needed to hear, you know, because I mean, who does, you know? But, you know, now I'm someone who actually, instead of just talking all the time, and, you know, making rash decisions, which I actually did between like my 19 through like 21 was like my 3-year gap, where I would just make decisions just sporadically, like just, you know, oh, there's the car I wanted, I'll just go buy it, and there I go, you know, I've just emptied my entire bank account. Oh, I want to go back to school, I just emptied my entire bank account, you know, now I have an issue with my car, you know. Oh, there's you know, whatever, I want to go buy this video game system, $500, well, you know. And it's not even just things with financially, it's just doing things in life that you need to be considerate of. And, you know, as you get older and wiser, you start making better decisions and questioning, you know, do I need this? Do I want this? And then you actually start realizing, you know, with your role model, maybe I should speak with them about it, and, you know, maybe get another person's opinion about doing this, and, you know, how will it affect me or others? And the final outcome, will it be worth me doing that now? Should I wait till later? You know, should I, you know, see what else there is out there, you know, in the topic of whatever comes to your mind when I mention that, that you can look into, that, I guess what I'm saying is, like, right now I'm relating it to a financial aspect. So, like, again, it doesn't have to be towards a financial aspect, but just know that you don't know everything, and a good role model is going to tell you what you need to hear, whether it's just about anything in life, relationships, friendships, you know, purchases, jobs, going out to this party, anything, man. The next thing on my list, I have four things on there, so this is number three, guys. The role model is going to advise you on the pros and cons of a decision. And again, you know what's crazy is I do the same thing to people today too. So if someone asks me advice, all right, so whenever people would ask me for advice, I would always give them, or like they would tell me a situation and want my opinion on it. I would always be the person to give them my side and thought of it. And I remember this girl I knew back in high school, and her mom told me one day, because the girl and I had our, you know, our own little situation, whatever. And you know, her mom to me is and still is like a mom. You know, we talk once in a while. What did she say? She was like, "There's three sides to every story: your side, their side, and the truth." And the truth is always something in the middle. So let's say, for example, you know, the pros and cons of something. So when someone asks me, you know, advice or something, I give them the things they could gain from it and the things they could lose from it, and then I tell them that, you know, it's up to you if you want to make that risk or decision. And at the end of the day, you know, you control your own life, and risk and decisions are going to be up to you. But I think that everyone should know, you know, whether they're making a big decision in life or not, they should know the pros and cons to it. And that's another thing a role model is going to teach you, is how to know and how to point out, you know, that the pros and cons of every decision you make is going to have some kind of impact on the outcome. And the final thing I put on my list today, guys, is they're going to help you live in the now. So growing up, my mom was someone who was always very focused on the future. And I'm not going to go into our story, but she was very someone who was very much focused on the future. And that's how I grew up to be, and I would not know how to live in the now. I wouldn't know how to have fun. I wouldn't know how to take breaks, because everything I needed to do was for success. And I think at certain points you're going to need to take a step off the success train, because you're going to realize your train is slowing down, and that's because a lot of times stress starts building up, anxiety builds up. And you're going to need to take a break. You're going to need to take time to go out and enjoy yourself, explore things. You know, there's no point of doing so much for yourself if you're never going to take the time to enjoy yourself and take time to step back and look at it. And, you know, maybe with a clear mind, since you're not pushing so hard anymore, you can find another strategy to when you get back on the success train, to do even better, you know? And that's one thing, another thing Keith has taught me to do. And is, you know, he'll tell me, you know, Garrett, you're stressed out. You need to take time off. You need to, you know, take time to enjoy yourself, you know. Because I'm the kind of person who will work. Oh my God, I have so many people nowadays tell me, you know, well, you're always busy. And sometimes I'll be like, you know, well, that's life. And then I take a step back and I'm like, well, you know, maybe it wouldn't hurt to go out once in a while, you know, maybe it wouldn't hurt to, and it's all about balance. So for me, balance between, you know, living in the now and living in the future has always been my biggest struggle. And I would say that's the number one thing I've always been working on about myself. And I think we all have things that we need to work on about ourselves. But that's something that, you know, Keith for me has constantly reminded me, or just, you know, simple everyday people on like YouTube or something. You know, like there's a bodybuilder, his name's Artemis Dolgan, and he to me is my next biggest role model because of his mindset. What is this? My laptop. Sorry about that. He is my next biggest role model is because of his mindset on things and his approach to things and how deep he is. And his thoughts on doing things to make him a better person. And that's kind of how I'm starting to view things today is, you know, not just to just go jump and take risks, but, you know, if it's going to make me a better person, to go do it. And he'll talk about it. A lot of people will talk about it, you know, and that's something I actually talk about now is, you know, enjoying time in the now. And for me, I've always been like focused on success, enjoy life, and I've never had a balance. So it's either I enjoy life too much, which does that even make sense, or I'm working too much, you know, and balance is key, guys. So I hope those four things are helpful for you guys in finding a good role model, or, you know, even just developing you as a better person. Again, sorry if I lost my train of thought. I had just woken up. I'm actually spending probably like the next hour or two cleaning this shake I spilled yesterday on the floor, and the stain is like impossible to get out of the carpet, so I'm probably gonna have to call a carpet cleaner. Garbear Fitness, check it out, guys. Stay shredded. for all your fitness apparel and online coaching. GarbearFitness.com, guys. I love helping people with fitness ideas. If you guys, or just topics in general, if you guys have any suggestions, comments, questions, concerns, shoot me a message at Watson Alexander is my Instagram. The rest of my social media is going to be in the description box. What else did I want to say? Yes, my nutrition guide is coming out soon, guys. It'll be under the men's and women's, available in the shop. It's got a lot of information in it, and in the description there, in the items shop, I'll let you guys know when it's out because it's going to be all over my social media. But I'm going to have the introduction there and everything, so it's going to kind of talk about what I talk about in the book. And I'm really just looking to get, you know, that information out there because I think it's very important for people to know how to eat and know, you know, how to track things and how to go by how they feel, you know, versus by standing on a scale all day or, you know, doing this or that. And kind of just knowing how to balance between enjoying foods and being very strict on a diet. Because this book isn't very much only pertaining to bodybuilders, but it's pertaining to the everyday person too. Oh yeah, and the shirts are coming out soon, guys. I think I'm shooting for July 4th to be the release of them. I'm waiting for the female shirts to come in the mail today. But I actually like this one. This is the blue one. I like the blue and the black one. That's the two colors that are going to be available for the guys. And I should probably mention in my next video next week what the female shirts are going to look like and a little bit more on them. They're very comfortable. They hold up very well in the wash because whenever I get a new shirt product in the mail that I'm testing, I always make sure I wash it and I dry it. And that for me is very important because when I wear clothes, I don't want the stuff shrinking up in the wash. I don't want the work on them, you know, fading away. I don't want the, you know, letters breaking up and stuff like that. And, you know, I think it's very important to have good quality products, even, you know, if it's not like the most expensive thing on the market, you know. I think it's good to, when you're presenting something to the world, you always want it to have good presentation, good product. So anyway, guys, check it out. Hope you enjoyed this video. Stay shredded. And what is today? Tuesday? Happy Tuesday.